It was 4 years ago when I made a video about this underrated weapon. Well, who plays Torid in the past anyway? The Torid is an infested variant of the Ogris, firing toxin grenades that releases clouds similar to the ones thrown by lobber crawlers of the infested faction. By the way, I'm sorry for the video quality, as this clip is 4 years ago, and I had no proper setup. Just a laptop and the love to create content. I just want to show you the original Torid, before even galvanized mods and weapon arcanes were added to the game. While I was having some fun with the weapon, I can honestly say that it's hard to tell another player that it's actually powerful, since it needs specific combos with Warframes to even go against tough enemies in the game. During these era, Pox is the closest thing to the Torid, since they both have a toxin cloud mechanic. However, Pox was the superior weapon, since it was the best when it comes to stripping armor fast and killing enemies faster. The Torid was like the alternative version of the Pox, and honestly, the only advantage of using the weapon over the secondary is that it got more ammunition compared to the Pox. But then, the Pox nerf, so bad that it was almost unusable in Warframe. Somehow the secondary weapon lost its power of melting enemies in seconds during the status changes, I think, and that update wherein radial attacks don't proc any headshot conditions anymore. The Torid received similar treatment, and I was very upset with it, especially after I can't do the special synergy with this weapon while playing with Nidus. It was very fun grouping enemies and killing them with the Torid, and I was hoping that it would be a lot better after Digital Extremes added the teaming Virulence Augment. I'm just glad that after years of asking, Digital Extremes finally added more power to guns with the help of galvanized mods and weapon arcanes, and somehow the Torid received a great buff from these things, and I was able to have fun with the teaming Virulence Nidus. And then came the Incarnon form, which was a big surprise for me. I was happy that one of the most underrated weapons in the game received its Incarnon form, and it's so much better right now. The Incarnon form becomes a continuous beam weapon with a 3-meter radius, capable of chaining to up to 5 nearby enemies within 6 meters of each other, with each chain doing 75 of the previous chain's damage. The base damage, critical chance, critical multiplier, and status chance are also increased, and honestly I think the Incarnon Torid is the best beam weapon in the game. It just melts steel path enemies super fast, and this is by far one of the most powerful Incarnon weapons in the game. The Incarnon Torid is at the top of the food chain as the best beam weapon, and it can melt enemies in seconds, but I wanted more from this weapon. Aside from power, I want to maximize the usage of this weapon, so I tried a farming setup for the Incarnon Torid, which will make all that power useful. The good thing is, I was surprised at how good it is against Necromesh in isolation vaults. Most players would use the Stroffer, or even fight a Corn bot with a Corn bot, but Incarnon Torid actually gets the job done. While it's not a one-shot machine, but it hits hard, that allows you to farm the isolation vaults for those damaged Necromesh parts super fast. But before this, I tried the Incarnon Torid to be one of the best farming weapons for Necros. First of all, you can make abilities and weapons that don't have any /good for Necros discrete ability. The Amalgam Ripkas True Steel is an Amalgam mod exclusive to the Ripkas. It provides increased critical chance, increased reload speed for shotguns, and increased gore chance. This mode can be dropped in the Ropalist boss fight. A gore keyword appears to describe the dismemberment mechanic. Having this mod equipped will allow many weapons, abilities, and companions, even temporary ones, to dismember, even if they don't otherwise meet the requirements. This synergizes well with Necros' Desecrate, as bisected body parts are treated as distinct corpses and have their own chance to yield additional loot. This mode can allow killing blows from your damaging status effects to bisect a large variety of enemies. So basically, the gore chance is applicable as long as you assisted with the kill, regardless if you did the killing blow, and lastly, slash, heat, and toxin will consistently bisect many common humanoids, but not newer or infested enemies. With this equipped on Necros, we can make guns that don't dismember enemies, bisect their body parts and making them susceptible from Desecrate's extra loot. The Amalgam mod solves the long-time Necros problem that locks you to using only strong weapons with very high slash value. With the mod, you can actually use anything as long as you don't mode it with gas or electricity, and in fact, there's actually 2 new Incarnon weapons right now that can fill the role of a good farming weapon for Necros. One is the Incarnon Torid, and the other one Incarnon Boar Prime. You can switch between the two, but I prefer the current at the moment because it just melts faster. It's way faster to switch from normal to Incarnon form with the Torid, as it only needs 5 direct shots to fill the gauge of the Incarnon compared to the usual headshot requirement mechanics of evolving guns. Speaking of evolutions, the second and third evolution on my Torid Incarnon are just personal preferences. The same goes with its Evolution 4, but I try to go for a max crit build as much as possible since I got a hunter munitions set up for the gun. This is also one perk of having a high crit build beam weapon, since you will have guaranteed /procs with hunter munitions mod, allowing you to bisect enemy parts and get more loot from the desecrate ability. So basically, the build I have for Torid doesn't just have power, but it also ensures that you can dismember target whether from the /procs provided by hunter munitions or the status proc while Amalgam Ripkas is equipped in your Ripkas melee weapon. Now, the build I was using in the isolation vault farming is kind of different. Instead of the galvanized setup, I use serration and modded for radiation, as necromesh are weak against radiation damage. Just a quick tip, always aim for the weak spot of the cornbot to build up charges if you run out of Incarnon form. These are usually the arms of the cornbot first, then the body, preferably aim for the back of the necromesh. You can do this by using a Gloom Necros setup, which also works in resource farming in Steel Path survivals. This Gloom Necros provide you with everything you need to farm and have fun with Necros. Just like I have said, Incarnon Torid is not the only weapon that can be played with a farming Amalgam Necros right now, but I just love how good this Incarnon gun is and how crazy its power is. I just want to convert that power to something good, and then I tried it to use as a farming setup for Necros. Now go try it for yourself. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next video.